This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. And folks, I have a wonderful guest today. She is, well, she's from that hill that has eyes.
And ears and nose.
It has the whole schmear. And I gotta say a special shout out to Tommy Kovac from Splat from the Past for connecting me with my guest today, because he spoke very highly of her. And yeah, absolutely. And I'm so delighted to have her. Folks, I give you the lovely Janus Blythe. How do you do, Janus?
How do you do, everybody?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I love your background on here, you know.
Thank
a
you.
nice,
I changed it a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, a nice collage of photos
Yep.
and posters. I'm here right now. Skittles is up here. I'll see if I can show him on here. Skittles, you go say hello?
I locked Coco in the bedroom this time so she won't bark.
Oh, there you go. Well, Skittles is just up here purring. Everybody seems to love it when Skittles joins me. So, yeah. But nonetheless,
they love Coco too, but I can't take a chance with her. If somebody walks by or knocks on the door, it's over with.
There you go. There you go. Well, you know what?
Okay.
It's delighted to have you on here today, and you're definitely, yeah. Well, you're known for a lot of horror movies, and I was wondering, did you have a love for horror movies growing up, and what
Absolutely not. No.
What was your first introductory to horror movies?
You mean for me to be in them?
No, actually, just to watch them. What
Oh, I remember watching the Frankenstein movies. I always liked those, you know, the bride, you know, that stuff, and Dracula. I like those, you know, Vincent Price movies. I like those.
Oh, I love Vincent Price. Absolutely. Yes. Who can forget that voice, huh?
I know. And, you know, I have come to love certain, like all the vampire series that are on that are always a twist different, you know, than your typical vampire movie. But no, I was not a big fan of horror films. Now I am. It was just it's just a freak thing that how I got the Hills Have Eyes. I don't think I've told you this story. I was at Schwab's on Sunset. I was at Schwab's on Sunset, the famous Schwab's, where people would get discovered. Actors would go there and sit around and have coffee and look at the Hollywood Reporter and talk BS, you know, and try to pretend like they're working. And if I was in town, I'd stop in there, and I did that day. And my friend Michael Pataki, an actor, I was sitting down with him and having my cup of coffee. And he said, "Oh, you know what? By the way, they're casting a movie down the street here off Hollywood Boulevard. Go to this address and tell them I sent you, and check it out." So I'm a child of the Me Too generation. So you're just defensive no matter what, in that kind of situation. I'm walking them to a house, not a building, and this little dogs are yapping at me, and this pretty large guy answered the door, and he was not dressed. I mean, he was just like, old t-shirt, shorts. I'm going, oh yeah, this is an interview for sure. And he said, "Oh, they're down there on Sunset Plaza." And he told me where to go. I went, "Oh, okay." So I got in my car, and it was down behind this Sunset Plaza. It's a strip on Sunset that's away from the Gazaris and all that stuff. It's just a nice strip of restaurants and some office buildings, and they were down this driveway, and they were back in this office building, and I walked in. It was Peter Locke and Wes Craven. And I didn't have an appointment. I just crashed the interview basically. And they let me, and sat down with them. And I didn't realize I had done a movie with them, my very first movie ever that I got my SAG card from. It was called First Time, Kitty Does It First Time or something. I played a waitress, and my line was, "You creep." And because this guy I brought drinks to, he said, "Ha ha ha, get yourself a facelift," and gives me a tap on the on the cheek, and I go, "You creep," and walk away. And that got me my SAG card. And I didn't know that was Peter Locke and Wes Craven, because I always had that one line and I was gone. So they were down there and they were casting, they were reading girls, and they gave me a script and said, take it home and come back and read for Lynn. That's Dee Walsh's part. Read for Lynn. She has the baby child and da-da-da. And I said, okay. And I took the script home and I came back the next day and I went, I got to tell you, I really feel an affinity with Ruby. I mean, Ruby didn't have any lines, basically, it was all physical. But there was something about her that just really just felt like home to me. And they said, no, we have someone in mind for that part. I said, but really, and I just kept telling them that I really, really wanted to read for that part, but how could I read for that part? There are no lines. And they kind of like, okay, and then another typical actress, being fussy, but I really felt that part was mine. And they took us outside, and there were, I believe, 4 of us. PJ Souls was one of the girls they were considering.
Oh, I love PJ.
And I know her very well, by the way. And so there was Peter Locke and Wes Craven, and then there were 4 of us, and outside in the parking lot, away, not in the street, but down below, no cars or anything. And they told us to run, touch that pole, and come back. Because the part was very physical. It was all physical, that. It was a physical role. And they had to see how you look when you run, because, are you going to look weird, or are you going to look good, or, that kind of thing. And so he said, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, go, and you guys go. And so he goes, 1, 2, go. And everybody took off, and I stood there. And he looked at me like, what the you're doing, Oh my God, she's not, I could see his mind just going, what's wrong with this girl? She's not moving. And I went like this, and I took off, bypassed them all, hit the mark, came back, bypassed them all. And I was first one back, and he went, And Peter Locke said, that's what got me the part.
There you go. I love that. Yeah. Love that.
And it was very, very, it was a physical part. And I was in my top shape. I was a jock. I mean, I jogged 3 to 6 miles every morning. I went to the gym in the afternoon and dance class at night. So I was in my prime. And I was athletic, very athletic. So the part needed somebody strong. So I got it. And I'm really glad I did. It was meant to be. It just was meant to be. Look what's happened out of the movie.
Yeah, I've never had the pleasure of having PJ Souls on here yet, but I've heard all good things about her.
Yeah, she's very sweet. And I had a talk show too in LA called, you don't know about this, Janus Blythe show. It was on Continental Cablevision. And it was a talk show, interview show, and I did my own interviews, and I picked my own format and who I wanted on. I interviewed Wes Craven. I interviewed PJ Souls. He was a guest. I had a slew of celebrities come through my studio there, and I found that tape last night. In other words, I'm talking about PJ because I took out one of my tapes, and I bought this VCR to DVD recorder. So I put a VHS in, and one I picked happened to be of her, and me interviewing her. And I went, oh, I forgot about that. And we also did a movie together called Soldier's Fortune, and I played 82nd Airborne, and that's my second favorite part, by the way. And unfortunately, the producer got into a major car accident after we had, finished, and it was going to be released, and it was just, it was getting all kinds of great reviews, and he almost died, and he became pretty crippled over it, and all the movie got shelved. And it's sitting there in New York, and I want to fly there and go get it. I mean, it's a cute movie. And she plays she's not a nice girl. She's a conniving woman, and I have to save the girl. I'm saving someone again. I saved the teenager on female of an all-male mercenary team. You got Gil Gerard as the lead. And my name is Alex, and they're expecting a guy to walk in. And here I come. So they're going, oh, whoa, what's this, But I fit right in, and we go and rescue the girl, and that's my story of PJ Souls.
Is that the one with where the teenage girl is kidnapped, the
yes,
cheerleader? Oh, I remember that. I've seen that because there was one point where you got a situation in one point where you see somebody in a cheerleader's outfit with a bag over her head.
Yes.
And when the bag comes off, you got PJ Souls with a gag on her mouth, and she is a nice.
Don't give the story away, but yeah. So what did you see it?
I saw that years ago. I think I rented it or something, and but
I don't think it. Well, I know it did come out on VHS, and
yeah,
and it was meant to, it was a good little film, and they played on the title Soldiers of Fortune, but this is Soldiers Fortune. And it also had oh my God, the big guy who played he had the white hair, the white beard, he played the bear. I mean,
I'm trying to think. You had an actor in it. He was in the Blues Brothers as one of the good old boys, and he was in Silence of the Lambs.
No, I'm talking about he had his own TV show. Oh, I'm sorry, I just went blank. Oh, you have to look it up. You can look it up online. So anyway, you got Gil Gerard, and you have me, you got PJ, and you have his name I can't think of at the moment. And some other Seymour Cassell was in there, so they had some good cast in there, and I was really banking on that coming out, and then it just died because he couldn't. So he's still struggling with his injuries, and I'm gonna just ask him, what can I do to get the rights from you and get that movie out, because I really love that part. So anyway.
I remember too when the film the opening scene, you got the cheerleaders doing their routine, and a lot of it was in slow motion. Yeah, I remember watching that. I'm trying to think of the name of that actor. He was in the Blues Brothers and as one of the good old boys, and he was in Silence of the Lambs, and he was in so many movies.
He's gone now. Well, anyways, we can't think of his name, so forget it.
Yeah.
So what do you want to talk about?
But I've heard so many great things about Wes Craven. By the way, you and PJ were also in Zuma Beach.
She was in that?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. We have a lot of connections in. I didn't realize that.
There you go. Yeah. But Wes Craven, I heard so many great things about, from people that I've had on here, worked with them. And I know you had some good experiences. Talk about working with him.
He was very quiet and understated, and he was just very meek, and it was just like unlike these raunchy movies that he would write. And when we were on location for Hills 2, I said, I have to ask you a question. You are so unlike the movies that you write. I mean, how do you write them? He said, well, he didn't start out thinking he was going to be writing horror films. He did one in the beginning to help finance the movies that he really wanted to do. He said, but then it got to be so successful that he just stayed in that genre. So that made sense. And we were on location for Hills 2, like I said, and we're walking. And I said, I gotta also talk to you about something that I'm not talking about my ego here, but you've got Ruby falling on a rock and dying. I said, and that just doesn't feel right. I mean, not for Ruby. I mean, remember the ending of Hills 1 where she ends up at the end with the other two, and they all hold hands, and they save the baby and everything's all good, and you're gonna have her die on a rock? And he said, you're right. He said, I've been thinking about that too. I'm gonna rewrite that ending. I said, oh, great. But we never had another chance to talk about it while we were shooting. I was waiting, figured we just would do impromptu or something, because nothing was coming to my room. No sides were being, delivered. And I said, oh, he's really busy. The movies are always run behind. They always run behind, because it's always something that makes you run behind. And they had a completion bond. So they had a deadline they had to meet or lose a lot of money. So we got to where we're going to shoot that scene. He said, I'm so sorry. I really have to apologize. I didn't have time to rewrite the scene. So you're going to have to do it, hitting your head on the rock. And Peter Locke says, yeah, and gurgle or roll your eyes or do something like that. I'm going, huh? And I said to myself, nope, Ruby's not going to die. I mean, she didn't die like on her head on a rock. I mean, how sensational is that for Ruby? So I hit my head in the rock, and if you noticed, I just passed out. People think I died. I didn't die. I just passed out. There was no gurgling. There was no eye rolling. There was no mounds of blood or anything. I just, went unconscious, basically.
There you go.
But he really was sorry he couldn't rewrite the ending because we didn't have time. But other than that, I loved working with him, and I was hoping to, when he called me and said, "Do you want to have lunch?" And this was after Hills 1, 2 years after that. And I said, "Of course." And then we sat there, had lunch, and he said, "Thinking about writing Hills 2. Would you consider being in it?" And I went, "You bet." And I love the fact he brought Michael and I back, and we got to go back to where we were together, back in the desert. And I wanted more of that to happen. I really, we had a great fight scene. And I just wanted, Ruby starts turning back into her animal self. She's smelling the air. She knows he's around, and she has a big fight with him. And I loved that. I wanted more of that myself, and less motorcycles, but more of Michael and me, and more happening in that area. But I loved it. I loved doing it. And I was hoping for Hills 3, and it didn't happen.
Well, A Nightmare on Elm Street happened.
Well, a lot of other things. But that can happen too. Other people can write it too,
But I tell you, I'm a big snake lover, and you got the
Python.
Yeah, Python. You got to handle that rattlesnake in that big iconic moment, with you with the rattlesnake. Talk about working with a snake.
Well, I wasn't going to. When I got the part, they said, "There's a rattlesnake in that scene." And I said, "I see that." And he said, "Would you pick it up?" I said, "I don't pick up worms. I'm not going to pick up a snake. No way." And they said, "Don't worry about it. We have a female AD who grew up around snakes. She's totally comfortable with it. We'll take your bracelet, put it on her wrist, and we'll do an insert shot. That's all of her picking up the snake." And I went, "Cool, that's great." So we have been on set now, and I've been running around those hills for several days, and before we got to that scene. And so I was Ruby, and I was Ruby to and fro. I was Ruby. And I mean, I remember Dee saying how cold it was, and I said, "I don't think it was cold." She said, "You were half naked. What do you mean you don't think it was cold?" I didn't feel the cold at all. I mean, I was just born and raised in the desert, and there I was. And so Peter said, Janus, will you pick up the snake?" I said, "Peter, you pick it up. I'll pick it up." So the snake handler, who was not a professional snake handler, they found him. They went, "Anybody here got any snakes?" While we're on location, by the way, the guy says, "I do," and didn't know this because I do. And that's how they found the snake and the handler. So he shows up, and he puts the snake down, and the snake's just going along his merry way, happy, he's in the desert. And Peter comes up behind it, and kind of goes, it touches it with his finger, goes, I did it. And I went, "Okay, Peter, I'll do it." So they put it up on the apple box. They put dirt on the apple box. They put the rattlesnake on the apple box. They said they melted, and they said they had sewn its sides shut so it couldn't bite me, but the tongue could come out. And they beat it with a stick to make it really angry so it would rattle really hard. And so he had to go with the snake just going along a little Mary, and I had a snake that they were beating up with a stick and rattling like crazy, and he was pissed. And they wanted me to come up eye level to it. And he said, "You grab your hand around the front and your thumb in the back of the head, down the neck, and that's how you pick it up." And so no practicing on anything. I mean, that's how he told me to do it. And so, and I'm down on the ground. Mind you, the apple box is an apple box. I'm on the ground crawling up to the snake, and I level with it now. And I'm just getting up that nerve, just working up to it. And I just gotten to the point where I was going to give it a go. And he goes, "Stop. That's for professionals. She shouldn't do that." I went, "Oh, my heart." What did he just do? So they found a stick somewhere laying around that had like a fork on the end of it. You remember the thing? So it's a wood stick with a natural fork on it. And they gave that to me and said, "Okay, fork the snake and then transfer your hand and then pick it up with your right hand." So that's how I got the snake, and I picked it up. I did not know that this was a Mojave green. the deadliest rattlesnake in Northern America. Instant death. I mean, I did not know that. I'm glad I didn't know that, because I may not have done that. I may not have wanted to touch that snake if I had known that. Now, Michael Berryman knew snakes, and he knew that. But this was like his second movie. He wasn't going to say anything. I mean, he's an actor, just, but he said he was just crossing his fingers and just holding his breath. And I had no idea what I was touching. It was very powerful. It wasn't slimy or weird. It felt very strong. It made me feel very powerful. It's a kind of a hard thing to explain unless you've ever, like you ever touched a snake. It's not like let go. No, I mean it's a lot of energy and power comes from it. And the snake that I killed my brother with, they told me was dead. It wasn't dead. It wasn't. It was frozen, and it was coming back to life, and I could have killed him with it. I didn't know. Yeah, I mean that snake was not dead. It was. They made it. They put it in the freezer. I couldn't make it, and it was these thoughts falling out, and I put it right in his neck. I mean, I take that snake. You say in the scene, I take it right to his neck, and I really did it. I mean, he could have died if that. The things opened up, right? And did them. And one day we're on, I guess the set, it's no set, we're on the set there in the desert. And the scene where the baby, I have it tucked back there in the cave, and with Michael Spears, and Mars comes running and about to get. And I kept saying, "Take me, Mars, take me." And I kick in the set, "Take me." He goes, "You're not worth taking, movie." And I kick, and he finally chases me. Well, that scene that was the cave, that was a big concaved area of the desert. Mountain was up here, and it was like really deep. And Snake Man was there. My snake was there. And I don't know, I just turned around and I came back around, and there was no one there. Everyone was gone. I mean, everyone but me was gone, and I didn't know where everybody went. It was just like April Fool's Day. They were gone. And someone said the snake got loose and everybody went straight up the mountain. But I was standing there. Michael said I picked up the snake, and I don't remember that. But I know that I stood there while they all were scared of it, and they ran, and that was very funny. That's a funny story, but that's the truth.
Well, I've interviewed Dee Wallace on here a couple of times, and I met her at Horrorama. Very nice. And I met Michael Berryman at Frightmare in the Falls last year, and fingers crossed, as he said he'd come on the show, and his manager's going to hook that up hopefully for March. So, but have fun meeting Michael Berryman. So look forward to making that connection. So, but I've heard all good things about him, and meeting him, that was a pleasure as well.
Oh, I love him. We connected right away, and we stayed in touch all these years. And I call him brother and bro and Pluto, and he calls me Ruby. And we have fun when we're doing that conventions together. When we're sitting side by side, we're always throwing things back at each other, jokes, and yeah. And when we were on location for Hills 2, I said, we got to have a Hills 3. Michael, we have to have this Hills 3. Now, we heard some rumor about there was a Hills Have Eyes 3 on Mars. That was the rumor. And I said, that can't be true. But I said, we need to write a script. Well, that night, we our heads just like were pounding off ideas. And we came up with a really good concept for Hills 3. And I didn't write it down. And I don't remember, but I know it was really good. We weren't drunk or anything, because he doesn't drink, and neither do I. So it was a really good concept of how Hills 3 could come out of Hills 2. And then, I never did anything. He never did anything about it. So, and I'm surprised that no one ever did a Hills 3, because it was such a powerful movie. I mean, so many movies have sank the Hills Have Eyes at the end of their credits. Have you seen these movies where I said, there's a movie I watched. I said, that's a modern Hills Have Eyes. I'm watching this movie.
Oh, yeah.
The Last Turn. Was it Last Turn?
Oh, Wrong Turn. Yeah.
Wrong Turn. I said, that's the Hills Have Eyes story. And at the very end of their credits, they sank. Wes Craven and the Hills Have Eyes. So that happens a lot. I've seen that a lot in a lot of films. So I'm really surprised. I guess he was just wanted to go on to the next thing, like you said. He had a lot. Something in the Rainbow, and like you said, Nightmare, and a lot, and on and on. But I interviewed Wes Craven on my show too, my Janus Blythe show. Did I say that already? Oh yeah, he was. And so was Bill Sachs. Bill Sachs from The Incredible Milking Man. He was on my show. Yeah.
Here's my Michael Berryman story, and this was pretty funny. He was sharing a table with Bill Moseley because they were there doing Devil's Rejects and whatnot. And it's funny meeting Bill Moseley in person. He's so much smaller than what he looks on screen. But I walked up to him and I asked him, I said, is Sherry Moon Zombie as beautiful in person as she appears on screen? And Bill Moseley goes, that's a Michael Berryman question. So I turned to Michael Berryman. He was sitting at his table, and I asked him the same question, and he goes, she was beautiful. And I said, was she as pretty as Bill here? And he says, anybody's prettier than him. And Bill Moseley just standing there with his jaw dropped. He goes, hey, I thought we were friends.
That's something Michael would say.
Oh, I got such a kick out of meeting those two, and but one of the things I really loved in Hills Have Eyes was the fact that one of the dogs took out 2 or 3 of the villains. Like, I mean, the dog, I think, was a bigger, I think outside Ruby, the dog was the biggest hero.
Yeah, the dog was great. And Hills too, I just posted a good article that shows me with Beauty. And Beauty goes with me in Hills too. And Beauty has a flashback. And they said the first dog ever had a flashback. This was the first time. I know dogs dream, but this dog actually had a flashback. I had a flashback. But I have a great shot. You got to look at my fan page. It's Janus Blythe Screen Queen, and go on Facebook and you'll see everything I've done, photos, clips, episodes, TV, movies. I mean, commercials. I had a commercial that aired on Super Bowl, and I have that on my page. You can see me with Beauty, and just scroll down and you'll just find all the goodies. And then I have a link. You can go to my website store and you can buy 8x10s, and I'll personalize for you, or just sign it, whichever you desire. Or if you have something you want to mail to me, I will do that and mail it back. And the prices are listed. And I've got stickers. It was all with Ruby with her snake, by the way. I have a T-shirt. It says Hills Have Eyes, and I signed it, so my signature is on there. And Ruby and my Janus Blythe, the Hills Have Eyes, and Ruby with her snake. And you're going to be getting one. And,
oh yes.
And I got Incredible Melting Man, Eaten Alive, Phantom of the Paradise. I have any photograph from all my films. I'm going to be putting Drive-In Massacre. I'm doing that one. I'm reprinting that one because no one knew that I'm the one on the cover. That's me hanging out the door with the car. And that's a big thing for Cinema Wasteland. I'm going to be there in September. Drive-in movies is their main thing, so even the owner of Cinema Wasteland didn't know that was me on the artwork of the box. And I went, yep. So I'm going to be reproducing those and signing those at the convention too. So
well, it's funny. You mentioned the dog having the flashback. It reminds me immediately of the chimpanzee that has a flashback and being John Malkovich.
I don't remember that. I like that movie.
Yeah. But anyway, Hills Have Eyes was great. Did you see the remake? And if you did, what did you think of it?
They invited us to go, and I invited a new director that was doing a movie out here, and he, it's important to network and meet people, and I thought he'd be good for him, and we go together, and they had the red carpet, and and the beginning of the movie, it was identical. I went, oh my! I mean, they're driving up, and there's the gas station and the grandpa figure, and and here comes the RV, and that was the end of what the similarity. And then it went way off track. Now, The Hills Have Eyes is based on a true story. And I don't know those of you who don't know that, because I didn't know that.
No.
No one told me until much later, probably around the time I learned about the snake from Michael Berryman when we were at the convention. The Scare That Cares, I think that's one he told me about it. I said, I couldn't believe him. Anyway, that movie really changed. Well, after the movie was finished and we had the reception, and everyone's eating and drinking, and the fans are coming up to Michael and myself and going, "We love you. You're the best. We don't like that new one. We want, and so that made me feel really good, because at first I was insulted. They did a remake? How dare they? But it's a good thing, because it puts the name of the film back out there in the world, and it's good for you when that happens. But my little like possessiveness, at first I went, well, they did a remake of my movie, but I was glad because the fans were even more grateful and happy about the first one. And I only meet a few fans. I haven't met many that love The Hills too. Most of them is The Hills original. But there's some really good scenes in The Hills too. Like I said, between me and Michael and me and the group and the dog, and there's some good stuff in there.
Well, you also you had mentioned some other movies. I love Brian De Palma, and I've done several interviews from the Phantom of the Paradise.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that movie. I've had Jessica Harper on. I've had Archie Hahn and Peter Ebling from the band that's in the movie, and
isn't Basil Hoffman in that movie?
I believe so. Blonde?
Yeah, because when I posted my commercial on my fan page yesterday, I looked at the photograph. I went, "Oh my God!" There's Norm Crosby, there's Basil, there's Steve Landsberg, and there's me, and my dancing partner, actor whose name I can't remember, and we do this whole big thing of natural light commercial, and we're doing a takeoff on the 70s of John Travolta, and I said, "That's Basil." I didn't even know I worked with him then when I did Phantom, but Brian De Palma was fantastic. He was very involved. He talked to every single person. It didn't matter the size of the role that you were playing. His casting was really important to him. Sometimes the smaller parts, they, just get who you want. But no, it was really important to him. And he sat down and we talked, and he was very nice. Very nice. I mean, and Paul Williams was a doll.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, he gave me all of his albums.
Oh,
he said,
nice.
"Stay right here," and he went and got them and brought them back to me. And I even bought a laser disc when laser came out for a minute. Remember that? Laser was the new thing. Well, their store opened up around the corner from where I lived in LA, and there was Phantom of the Paradise, and I've got it. I should have thought about it. I could have held it up. I will post it. I will post that on my fan page tonight. It's beautiful artwork on there. Never had a laser disc to play it, but that's and I got to be in that scene where we're on the record. It's a big water bed.
Oh,
and, yeah, we're all there, and all these lines are going around, and this girl says, "When do we get to sing?" And my line is, "I don't think much singing goes on around here, And I ended up on that in the one sheet, the poster. That was really nice. My little face was right there too. So that's really neat too.
I had interviewed one of the Swan girls from it too, in the end, where you get the girls dressed in the Swan outfits doing the dance. I had one of them on as well. Yeah, I love the Phantom of the Paradise. And
people do. And they don't know I'm in it. They get, "Oh, you're in that?" I'm in a lot of movies people don't know. So it's like this movie called Spine or Drive-In Massacre. And Phantom of the Paradise is a big one. Because they look at the photo and they went, "Oh," and I sell a lot of those. People order that too.
Yeah, and of course you get again another big director, Tobe Hooper.
I've been very lucky. Wes Craven, Tobe Hooper, Brian De Palma, Floyd Mutrex, William Sachs. Okay, here's one for you. Who played my boyfriend in The Incredible Melting Man?
I unfortunately haven't seen The Incredible Melting Man yet. That's one I've yet to check out.
I wish we had that kind of a thing where people can type in and they can, it's not live though. This is going to be recorded.
Yeah.
And people would, they could type in what they would know the answer. I'll tell you who it is. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Demme.
Oh yes, the director of Silence of the Lambs.
He was my boyfriend who got eaten up by the monster in The Incredible Melting Man.
Mm-hmm. That's a film. Tommy Kovac recommended that film to me too, so it's one I got to check out. I love being introduced to new movies, so absolutely I'll check it out.
I just saw Elvira on my fan page, and I was really happy to see it. She's posting, and I said, "Remember me?" Because she played The Incredible Melting Man every Halloween. Mm-hmm. She had spoofs on her movies, and she loved that one. And I said, "I'm the one who chopped off the monster's arm." I said, "I want you back on TV," because I thought she was great. I thought Elvira was great. She loved the Melting Man. And I'm in contact with Bill Sachs. We've done some conventions together.
I'll have to have him on here at some point,
No, he doesn't do these things.
No?
No, and he doesn't travel, and no. Well, maybe, maybe you could try reaching out to him, because you don't have to travel to do this.
Nope, you don't. Nope. But
he's still back in he's out somewhere, not in the proper of LA, but somewhere somewhere in the mountains somewhere. So yeah.
I know he doesn't
go to conventions, too much traveling.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out, because that is one of your credits I have not seen. But I know Tommy Kovac spoke well of it, and but with Eaten Alive, you get to work with Toby Hooper, fresh after Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and this is like Texas Chainsaw in the swamps. And instead of snakes, you got alligators.
That's right. It was really awesome, because the entire set was built on a soundstage. Mm-hmm. Dry ice was all that fog, and I just think they did a beautiful job of, the motel and the swamp and having the the alligators, and they had an alligator. I think someone said they told me something about the alligator, that I think they had a mechanical one, and I think they had a real one. I don't know. But everything was done there on soundstage except for the bar scene. We actually went to a bar in the Valley, San Fernando Valley, where I'm shooting pool with Robert Englund's my boyfriend in that movie. And Neville Brand was the crazy motel. And that's another one of my movies that's based on a true story. So 2 of my movies are based on true stories. There was a motel owner who used to feed his guests to his alligators. Isn't that sick?
Sounds like X and Pearl that just came out. They had feeding the alligator scenes as well.
I don't know what that is. How are you talking about?
They just came out last year.
What is it?
But X with Mia Goth, and Pearl with Mia Goth. They got a third one called Maxine coming out this year.
Are these movies? Movies?
Oh yeah.
I don't know about them.
Yeah. But nonetheless,
so
you worked with Robert Englund, so I mean, we should have a Freddy Krueger versus Ruby movie.
There you go. I saw him in Kentucky this past October at Scarefest, and he was there, and his line went, long out the door, for people to get autographs. And I said, I'll be right back. I left my table. And I walked by all these people that are standing in line for hours. I walked right by them all, right up to the front. He's got all these handlers behind the desk, behind the table like this, And I walked right by them and go, whoa, whoa, whoa. I go, I did a movie with him. And they went, she goes, what'd she say? She did a movie with him. And they kind of just let me go. And I went up and I stood right next to Robert, because he was focusing on his fan. He had signed the picture, and he was finishing his conversation. He did not detour. He did not look at me. He was very good. He just finished his whole conversation. And when he was done, he turned and went, oh, and he gave me a great big hug. It was great to see him. They came out here, and they did from Australia. They did a documentary on Robert Englund, and they came out here to film me, to be part of it. And it's called look back at Eaten Alive, something like that. Look back, Eaten Alive. Anyways, there's a documentary made because they out there they have a pool of money where people contribute and they put in their slips of paper of what they would like to see that money go for, and that's what they end up producing and shooting. And this is the one that won out for that year. So all the money went to bringing out these guys from Australia. They had a nice crew in my entire house here, and we shot a nice documentary. I have that on a DVD here, and it was all about Robert, and he's had a long career.
Well, another film I want to touch on too is Drive-In Massacre, because I've had the pleasure of having John Goff, Jackie Giroux, and Norman Sheridan from that film on the show here. And I've spoken to Stu Sagal, the director. I haven't had him on here yet, but we have been in contact.
I should be contacting him all along. I mean, he put me on the cover of his DVD. I love Jackie Giroux. We stay in contact.
I met Jackie Giroux in person. She did a movie up here called Plaster Rock back about 2010. And it was part of the film festival here. And I met her at that. And it was funny because when I didn't know she was in Drive-In Massacre when I first saw it. Drive-In Massacre was a film I just happened to see in Sunrise Video.
Well, I didn't work with her. I mean,
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But I saw the movie in it, Sunrise Video, and I saw that cover with you on upside down there coming out of the car. And I was like, what is this? And usually if something takes me back to when my uncle used to own the videos. No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
But it was a movie I just kind of picked up without seeing, because I figured this looks like it's up my alley, and I enjoyed it.
A lot of people liking, I've never sold anything, no photographs from that movie, and I'm asked about that a lot. So I'm going to Cinema Wasteland in September in Cincinnati, Ohio, and the owner, the promoter, Ken, he loves that movie. He didn't know it was me on the artwork cover, and I told him, yep. And I said, I'm going to reproduce that. And for the first time, I'm going to have that for sale on my table to sign. You know, it could be one of these kinds. One of these mini posters. Yeah, a Drive-In Massacre with me hanging out the window. These cost a little bit more, but that'll be cool. It'll be the first time I've ever done that. And because there has had a lot of fans, that movie.
Yeah, I really like that movie, and I have a lot of fun with it. And
a lot of fun. You're a little sicky, aren't you?
Well, it's a lot of fun because when I had John Goff on here, I asked him, I said, did Playboy ever approach you when you were in drag in that car? Oh, I had a laugh at him.
Watched that movie. I never really watched it.
Oh, yeah. He has a scene where he's in drag undercover. And
I got it here.
I had to rib him about that.
I've got the VHS. I have the VHS version, and I don't think I have a DVD, but
well, when I said I have a lot of fun with it, it's one of those movies because we haven't had drive-ins here in New Brunswick since the mid 80s.
Well,
and there's a lot of that movie that just takes my memory back. And so I really appreciate what it brought, and they kind of left the door open for a sequel. I wish they had done one. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, during COVID, they were talking about making drive-in movies, and they were doing one out here because people couldn't be in the theater together, right? So they said, let's just, we have all this open space out here, put up some speakers and put up a screen. And so I think they did one out here for a short time to bring that back, and it's too bad it didn't stay.
Do you remember anything about your scene in the opening with, when your character gets her throat slashed and she's hanging upside down? Remember anything about the makeup or anything like that?
Well, I'll tell you this, it was one take Annie, because that was it. They had, we're talking about a low budget. So they had, I had one shirt, they had one blood pack, and I had one chance. There was no take two on that one. And they were all applauding and screaming at the end because they were like, I did a good job dying, you know. But yeah, I just commit myself. I just have to believe it to be a good actor. You see, I feel, if the audience, why I like doing horror films, because I was offered a lot of T&A, where the guy's peeking through a little peephole in the shower, watching girls take a shower, that kind of stupid stuff. It has no meaning, it has no purpose. But in a horror film, if I'm not good and the audience says, oh my God, you don't believe her, the movie just right out down the toilet. So it's a real challenge to be a really good actor, to really pull it off. Or the movie has to be so bad that people like it because it's so bad. But I liked it because I had to be good. You had to really, when I screamed in Incredible Melting Man, everybody screams with me. It's important to me that I just become it and believe it, and it's for real. And so when my boyfriend gets pulled out the window by the killer, and then he gets me, and I have to. I never practiced it. I've never done it before, and I just had to go for it. And you go, keep going, and hang out the door. That's what I did.
Well, you also did CB Hustlers, which also had John Goff and Jackie Giroux in it. So that's another one I haven't seen, but I just noticed you have same company in that movie, so.
Yeah, same producer, director.
Yeah. But Incredible Melting Man, you worked with William Sachs, talk about working with him as a director.
I thought we talked about Bill. He, as a director,
like on set,
another mild manner, quiet personality person. And how I got this part was he was somehow knew somebody or whatever. They were editing The Hills Have Eyes, and he was there watching, and he dropped by or something, and he was watching them doing this, and he saw me on screen and said, I want her for my film. Now, how he saw Ruby to be the girl that chopped off the monster arm is night and day. And that's a really talented director, to see that I had that in me, that I could do that. He said, she's the only one I want. And he wrote me recently, he said, and you did a fantastic, beautiful job. I mean, he's went on and on and on. And when we were on the set, and we're getting to that scene, you haven't seen the movie, so you don't know what I'm talking about. After you watch it, then you'll know what this means. This is a serious big scene I have. My boyfriend, Jonathan Demme, goes in, he don't come back out of the house. And I go in and look, and the creepy sounds and looking around, and I end up in the kitchen, and I get scared, and I block the door with the refrigerator, and I'm backing up, and the monster's arm, the astronaut, he's melting. He came back from space with the disease, and his arm comes flying through the window to get me, and I take the butcher knife and chop it off, and I have to freak out, and there's no, so Bill goes, okay, we're gonna walk through for this one, and set up the cameras. They set up all the cameras and the lighting, and everybody's in this one little kitchen, and we're doing this because we already shot through me walking through the house. Now we're in the kitchen, and he goes, so Janus, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And I went, I don't know. He goes, what do you mean you don't know? I said, I don't know, Bill, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But what I do want to do is, everybody was hungry. We've been a long day, and it was past break time, and everybody wanted their meal, and men and their food, and everybody, they needed a break, and this is going to take a while. This scene's going to take a while. So I said, what I'd like to do is to take a dinner break and break everybody, and you go do what you're going to do, go and eat and laugh and have fun, and I'm going to lock myself here in this closet, and I'm going to be there until you get back. So he said, you're what? I said, I'm going to be in this closet, and then you come and get me when you're ready. So dinner's like an hour. So I don't know how long it is. It felt like forever. Maybe it's more than a half hour, that's for sure. So they were gone. They come back, and I said, just set up everything and come and get me. So he came and got me. And while I was in there, I was just working myself into a total frenzy. I was just getting myself on the edge of hysteria. So, because I had to go from 0 to hysteria instantly. And after dinner, there's been no way, they're tired, you're fat and they're full, you're not going to want to do that. So I had already been worked up. And so when they opened the door and they came out, I was already up there and everybody was dead silent. They were just quiet as a mouse. And we did the scene and you're going to see, I did what I did and I freaked out and I did. And I go back and I'm supposed to break the candy glass with my hand, but it wouldn't break. Behind me, it was a cabinet. I was supposed to break it, but it wasn't breaking. And I shrink down in the corner and this is supposed to be a second scene where I went catatonic, which I'll talk about. So from this scene, I go catatonic. That's the second scene. But in my head, I'm going, okay, what? Okay, you can say now because it was rolling and rolling and rolling. I'm going myself. I'm going, okay, and they just all got. They said they just all got stunned. They just all got speechless. They just couldn't move, and everyone was just stunned in there. And I went, because it just was all going on too long. But the second scene, Nell, my name was Nell. She goes catatonic. So I told Peter, I said, Peter, I would like to go to a crazy farm, a little nut house, and spend the day there and find myself a catatonic person. Can you set that up? And he did. I went out to a town called Camarillo, where there was a crazy house, a facility. And I went there and they knew who I was. And I sat down with a guy and he said, well, what level do you want to go at? We have, not too bad, and then middle, and then we have really bad. And I said, well, let's start out in the middle and we'll see how it goes. So he walks me down this, just a movie right in itself. I'm walking in going, nobody knows I'm here. What if that door never gets opened again? What if and I'm walking down this really long hall and 2 big double doors at the end of it. And I'm going, where's the camera? And he tricks the key and he opens it up and immediately some guy comes running at us, gets on the floor and sticks his foot in my face and goes, I have web feet. I have web feet. I'm going, oh my God, what have I done? And he says, this is the only way out. And he locks the door. And I go right into the nurses, just like Cuckoo's Nest. They had that round nurses place where they go get their meds from. Same thing. And I go, okay, I'm Janus Blythe. I'm an actress. y'all know who I am. I'm just studying for a part here. And because I thought, okay, what if they change shifts and the new shift doesn't know who I am and I never get out of there? I had all these thoughts going in my head, and they had a catatonic man there who one day just went, I talked to the psychologist. He says, there's no rhyme or reason to why people do this. They just do. And they won't talk. So you have no idea. And I said, oh, I can make them talk. Me. And I thought, yeah, anybody can make anybody talk. It's got to be me. I sat next to this guy. And I swear to God, I thought I could make him talk. I could not make him talk. I could not. But I saw what catatonic was. And so I could, for the scene that we never got to shoot, because we ran out of time again, we got cut out, but I knew what catatonic was. I went to the group therapy with them all. I played basketball outside and ate lunch. And the psychiatrist also explained that people that are in here, just one day, take a train. He says, you go on a train and there's somebody can pull the lever and they can change the track for the train, right? I said, yeah. So there's someone there always to pull the lever and the train can go this way, the train can go that way. These people are stuck on one track. There's no one to pull any levers and they're just stuck on one track. That's why you see these people go, they start talking to themselves, they're yelling out and screaming out, whatever they're doing. We've seen a lot of these people that are homeless like this. And there were a lot of them in there. And one girl had blood coming out of her head because somebody hit her in the middle of the night. I mean, it was very scary. And I said I wanted to go up the next level. Oh boy. But I had this opportunity, I had this opportunity to study characters to put in my mental log. If I ever needed to use that, I would have that. So I was there all day into the early evening, and Bill set that up, and he barely remembers that now. I said, "Don't you remember you did that for me?" And he said, I don't remember. But Don Peake, Don Peake, he did the music. He did the music for The Hills Have Eyes.
Okay.
And I was in Black Oak Conspiracy, and I'm watching the credits in my own movie, and there's Don Peake. So a lot of these people I have had connections with and not even known it. He did the music for Black Oak. He did the music. He did a convention with us. He has his own album from The Hills Have Eyes. All that music in the background is on an album you can buy. It's very good. It's very good.
Okay.
He's very, very good composer. Yeah. So I think I'm out of stories, hon. I think.
Well, you know what? I'm going to have to watch. Yeah, I was going to say I'm going to have to watch The Incredible Melting Man. I'm going to make that a point within the next short while here. Yes, let's talk about conventions. I always ask what's your...
I'm coming out to Canada April 29th. I'm going to be in Chatham, Kent, which is in Vancouver, right?
I don't know.
Aren't you in Canada?
I'm in New Brunswick, Canada, so I'm 4 hours. I'm 4 hours ahead of Vancouver.
It's really a big place. This is an hour from Detroit by car. It's across Lake Erie, I'm told. So I fly into Detroit, and then they pick me up and we drive over the border to Chatham. Otherwise, it's really, really far from an airport. So that's what it's called, CK Expo. It's a charity convention. The proceeds will go to Big Sisters and Big Brothers, which is a great, great organization. And so I'm going to auction off a t-shirt, and I have a tote with Ruby and the snake on it, and I have a patch, and I have stickers, and we're going to auction some of those off. We're going to have a raffle for some of those, and then all the money from the door goes to the charity. So I want everyone who can come there. That's, a lot of surrounding cities, which I don't know. But there's a lot of cities. I typed it in, and there's a lot of cities that popped up that are nearby. So you can come to CK Expo, April 29th, one day only, in Chatham, Kent. Yeah, and it's called CK Expo. And then I'm going to be in Ohio, September 29th for 3 days at Cinema Wasteland. And Cinema Wasteland is a drive-in movies, memorabilia. They just love that vintage stuff, and I'm going to be there, and that's in Strongsville, Ohio. I landed in Cincinnati, and we went there for Hills Have Eyes reunion in 2013. So this will be my first time back since then. So I'm excited about that. And I was in Kentucky past October at Scarefest. And there I met fans who drove 8 hours just to meet me. I mean, my heart was just so touched and Phil, and they brought 5 things each for me to sign. And I mean, and one guy said he fell in love with me when he saw The Hills Have Eyes. And, he's, it's just these great stories. And I love meeting my fans. I just love it. So we'll be doing it at least twice so far this year. Canada in April 29th and Ohio in September 29th. So CK Expo and Cinema Wasteland, you can come see me, and maybe you can get me out to one of yours.
Yes, I've done 4 Horrorama events and 2 Frightmare in the Falls. So
I'm talking about getting me out.
I'm going to see what I can do. Yes, absolutely. I know Michael Berryman's been at those, so I cannot see them not bringing you in for that. So
I'm doing solo in Cinema Wasteland. They're not bringing anybody else from the cast out. They said the fans have been asking for me, and so that makes me feel wonderful. And so yeah, they should have me out there too.
Absolutely, I agree. What's the most unique thing you've ever been asked to sign?
Your nose. pretty basic. My fans basically are with the posters and all that. But there was one girl, she had a doll. And she was asking everyone to sign this doll. So I signed this doll. Someone had a cast. But I said, you're going to have that taken off. So I don't know why you're going to have to save, I guess, that cast. But that's it. And I'm sure guys have better ones like signing girls' tits or something, but I don't have any stories like that.
Oh, yeah. Well,
anything
you
else?
know what? Well, let's advertise your webpage on here again so people know where to find you.
Yeah, Janus Blythe. Go to Facebook. It's Janus Blythe Scream Queen. And make sure you go to that page because I have another page, Janus Blythe. That's just for my family and friends. But the ones, everything, my photos, you can watch episodes of TV shows. You get links to the movies. I keep posting. I keep finding more and more memorabilia in this big box sitting next to me, and I keep posting it. So it's Janus Blythe Scream Queen on Facebook, and don't forget to like and follow.
I will, absolutely, and I'm going to pick out some stuff there and
oh yeah, my web page, my web store. There's a link to my web. Thank you for saying that. I have a link to my web store on my fan page, and it's anti-scene. It's right there. You link, and you go to the web store, and you can. And I've got many photos, all kinds of photos to choose from, and movies, and just headshots and stuff. And I have some T-shirts left, extra large, with the Ruby and the Hills Have Eyes and Janus Blythe on it, and stickers. I put mine in my water bottle. And
there you go.
Yeah, and the tote and the patch is not for sale. That I'm going to be auctioning off. Those are. But the T-shirt's a limited first-time edition. And so is the stickers, and they've never been printed or sold before. So you get this now, there's your memorabilia, because
there you go.
Yeah, we're not going to print that one again exactly like that. So that T-shirt's going to be it for this run, and there's only a few left in extra large, but it's 100% cotton. You want to shrink it, you can, but you turn it inside out to wash it in cold water if you want to preserve it, and you preserve the logo that way. And it'll stay black. So inside out by hand, and do not dry it in the heat or in the sun. Just let it drip dry, and you'll preserve your logo and the blackness. It's nice crisp black in cold water.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so thank you.
Yes, it was wonderful having you on here this time. Everything worked out fine.
Yes,
so yeah, absolutely. And I'd love to have you back at some point, and maybe actually I'll reach out to you maybe about next year this time, and by then I'll have planned to have seen The Incredible Melting Man, and maybe I'll have some more antidotes, and well,
if you get me hooked up with one of your Canadian expos, we can do another PR on that one.
Yes, we can. I would love that. I would love that. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
and I wish you can come see me at CK, but you said it's kind of far for you.
Well, with my work at the hospital here, I never know like my schedule. I know a few weeks in advance,
Well, that's good.
Yeah, but
it's kind of far, you said.
Yeah, but
how far is it?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But I know where Toronto is from me, and so I always try to book
off of that, and there you are.
Yeah, but we'll see what we could do. And but anyway, before I let you go, I would love for you to do a plug for my show.
What do you want me to do?
Just state your name and say you're Ruby from Hills Have Eyes, and say you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
Hello, I'm Janus Blythe, Ruby from the Hills Have Eyes, and you are listening to Greg Gilbert's. Oh, I just messed that one up. Greg Gilbert, right? At Fandom Python?
Python's Paradise.
Oh, Python's Paradise. Okay. Here we go. Hi, I'm Janus Blythe from the Hills Have Eyes, and you're listening to Greg Gilbert's Python's Paradise.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was perfect. That was perfect. That was perfect. Folks,
we can always do it on the phone if you don't like that one, honey. We can do one over the phone.
Oh, you know what? That was perfect. That was perfect, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to speak to Louis Serez and Chris Alexander for Horrorama and James Ponce from Frightmare in the Falls and see what we could do to get you out to those. And
show them this interview.
I can do that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love you too. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on here. I loved it. Enjoyed it very much.
And email me.
I will. I'll do so.
Janus Blythe on Facebook.
Absolutely. God bless you. Thank you so much.
You too. He's my heart. Bye.
Bye-bye.